In today's episode, we're exploring Jean Patou, a towering figure of early 20th century French couture. Patou may not be as much of a household name as his contemporary Coco Chanel, but his impact on fashion history is profound. From revolutionizing haute couture to pioneering women's sportswear and creating one of the most famous luxury perfumes in history, Patou's legacy endures. By the end of this journey, you'll see how Jean Patou shaped the way we dress, and even how we smell, leaving an indelible mark on both fashion and fragrance. Welcome to the Fashion Memoir. Let's celebrate fashion, one icon at a time. Patou was born in 1887 to a family of tanners and entered the Paris fashion scene in the 1910s. He launched his couture house in 1914, but World War I put his plans on hold. After serving in the military, Patou returned to Paris and quickly rose to prominence as a leading couturier. An early sign of his future success came when an American buyer bought his entire collection in 1913. A remarkable vote of confidence that foreshadowed Patou's broad international appeal. By the 1920s, Patou had established himself among the elite designers of early 20th century French couture, often mentioned alongside his arch-rival Coco Chanel. Now, let's dive into the facets of Patou's legacy. From haute couture innovations to sportswear breakthroughs, from the famed Joy perfume to his broader cultural impact. Haute couture innovations and elegance. Jean Patou made his name in haute couture by combining elegance with modern simplicity. In the early 1920s, he and Chanel were at the forefront of the garçon look, the chic, boyish style emblematic of the flapper era. Patou's designs from this period often featured bold embellishments like folkloric embroideries and geometric Art Deco motifs. He was especially known for vibrant use of color and graphics. His Cubist-inspired sweaters, debuted in 1924, became famous for their striking blocks of color inspired by painters like Picasso, paired with matching skirts and accessories. These ultra-modern knitted sweaters and dresses brought an easy, youthful flair to 1920s couture. Yet, Patou was not content to follow trends. He was a trendsetter. By the late 1920s, he sensed fashion needed a change. An anecdote from 1929 illustrates his influence. At a party, Patou saw women dressed in the prevailing short flapper dresses, mostly by Chanel. Reportedly, he rushed back to his atelier that very night and began designing dresses with dramatically longer hems and natural waistlines. Virtually overnight, Patou presented a new elongated silhouette that swept away the flapper style, causing a sensation in Paris. Evening gowns now skimmed the floor and exuded refined glamour, while daytime dresses dropped well below the knee. Other designers swiftly followed his lead. In a period when fashion typically evolved gradually, Patou's bold pivot demonstrated his clout in the couture world. He effectively rang the death knell for the short, boyish 1920s look and ushered in the elegant styles of the 1930s. Patou's haute couture salon itself embodied luxury and modernity. He hired Art Deco artists like Louis Sceaux and André Mare to decorate his salon in chic ash-gray tones with mirrored walls. And while he was the creative visionary, he wasn't a hands-on sketcher. Instead, he supervised a team of designers in his laboratory, guiding them with fabric swatches and ideas to execute his vision. At the height of his success, Patou would show enormous collections, hundreds of looks each season, striving to offer something for every occasion, from morning frocks to extravagant evening gowns. Critics praised his impeccable taste and sense of harmony, noting how he avoided excessive eccentricity in favor of wearable elegance. In short, Jean Patou helped define couture sophistication in the Roaring Twenties and beyond. He blended chic and casual elements with ease, proving that comfort and high style could coexist. This philosophy would carry over into perhaps his most revolutionary contribution, women's sportswear. Liberating women's fashion. The sportswear revolution. One of Jean Patou's greatest legacies is that he invented haute couture sportswear for women. At a time when women's clothing was often restrictive, Patou introduced a radical idea: fashion could be stylish and comfortable, even for active pursuits. His designs liberated women from corsets and stuffy gowns, embracing the sporty, streamlined spirit of the modern new woman. Patou's foray into sportswear was inspired in part by his brother-in-law, Raymond Barbas, who introduced him to the world of sports and athletes. Patou soon met tennis superstar Suzanne Lenglen, an androgynously elegant champion who became his muse. In 1921, Lenglen shocked Wimbledon by appearing on court head-to-toe in Patou. She wore a pleated white skirt that barely skimmed her knees, a sleeveless white knit jumper styled like a man's cardigan, and a daringly bright orange headband. The sight of her bare arms and short skirt flying above her knees as she dashed across the court made spectators gasp. This outfit, bold, modern, and free, was a world apart from the long-sleeved, ankle-length dresses women athletes had worn just a decade before. Lenglen's confident style, enabled by Patou's design, symbolized a new era. Women in the stands were so inspired that they soon adopted similar sporty attire in daily life. In effect, Lenglen became perhaps the first sports celebrity to popularize a fashion designer's work, and Patou's name became synonymous with this fresh, active look. Building on this success, Patou officially launched sportswear collections for women by 1922. He offered chic casual clothes for a generation of women who wanted to look sporty even if they did not undertake any form of exercise, as one account noted. In other words, he made the sporty look a fashion statement in itself. He designed tennis skirts, golf outfits, sailing attire, and swimwear that combined functionality with French elegance. Patou even worked with textile innovators to create new functional fabrics suitable for sport, ensuring his clothes were not just stylish but practical on the golf course or tennis court. Patou's innovations were numerous. He is credited with inventing the knitted women's swimwear and the tennis skirt, garments that allowed greater freedom of movement. He popularized the comfortable cardigan jacket for women, adapting a menswear staple into ladies' wardrobes. And in 1922, Patou did something truly ahead of its time. He began branding his designs with a personal logo. He stitched JP monograms onto his sports garments, making him the first fashion designer to turn his own initials into a style statement. Today, logo-driven branding is ubiquitous in luxury fashion, but Patou pioneered it by capitalizing on the cachet of his name a century ago. Patou didn't just make clothes, he created an entire lifestyle around sportswear. In 1925, within his Paris boutique, he opened a dedicated sportswear section, whimsically called Le Coin des Sports, the sports corner. This wasn't a mere rack of tennis dresses, it was an elegant suite of rooms, each themed to a different sport: golf, tennis, yachting, even aviation, showcasing attire and accessories for each pursuit. He also expanded beyond Paris, opening resort boutiques in places like Deauville and Biarritz to cater to the holiday crowd in need of stylish leisure wear. These moves underline how Patou transformed women's fashion. He legitimized casual, athletic-inspired clothing as part of the high fashion world. Ultimately, Jean Patou seduced the fashion world with a mix of chic and casual, sporty and elegant, all carried with an effortless ease. His vision of a slim, active, confident female silhouette became a hallmark of 1920s style. Every time we slip on a comfy knit dress or a tennis skirt with pockets, we owe a nod to Patou's pioneering spirit in women's sportswear, joy, and the luxury perfume legacy. Beyond fashion, Jean Patou made an indelible mark on the world of luxury perfume history. In the 1920s, as his couture house flourished, Patou noticed something: fragrance could be the ultimate accessory to fashion. He launched a perfume division in 1925, introducing 3 fragrances right off the bat: Amour, Cassage, and Adieu Sagesse, each crafted to suit a different type of woman. This personalized approach to scent was cutting edge, reinforcing Patou's knack for understanding women's lifestyles and desires. Patou's most legendary creation, however, came during an unexpected time. In 1929, the stock market crash and ensuing Great Depression dealt a heavy blow to the luxury fashion market. Many of Patou's wealthy clients could no longer afford couture dresses. In response, Jean Patou turned to perfume to save his business. In 1930, he unveiled Joy, a fragrance he famously marketed as the most expensive perfume in the world, offering, in his words, a few drops of joy to lift the spirits of those troubled times. It might sound ironic to sell the priciest perfume during an economic crisis, but Joy was pure bottled luxury, a small indulgence when grand fashion was out of reach. What made Joy so special? For one, its opulence was real, not just a slogan. Each ounce of Joy required an astonishing 10,600 jasmine blossoms and 36 roses distilled into a single ounce of parfum. This extravagant concentration of florals gave Joy a lush, intoxicating richness. It was perfume as haute couture, liquid luxury, in a bottle, priced steeply. Reportedly, 30 ml cost the equivalent of thousands of euros in today's money. Joy was aimed at Patou's former dress clients. If they couldn't buy his gowns, they could still treat themselves to his exquisite fragrance. The strategy worked. Joy became an icon, embodying 1930s glamour and resilience. Decades later, it was lauded as one of the greatest perfumes ever. In fact, Joy was voted Scent of the Century at the 2005 awards, even beating out the ubiquitous Chanel No. 5 for that honor. Patou understood that selling a fragrance was about selling an experience. In his Paris boutique, he famously set up a perfume bar, a sleek cubist-inspired counter where a bartender would custom mix scents for clients like cocktails. Shopping for perfume at Patou's was an occasion in itself, a clever blend of hospitality and marketing. Moreover, Patou collaborated with renowned bottle designers like Louis Say and even jewelers Bessicrat and Van Cleef and Arpels to create beautiful Art Deco flakings for his perfumes. These touches reinforced Patou's brand of refined luxury. After Joy's launch, the House of Patou continued to release notable fragrances, often commemorating events or reflecting Patou's love of travel. For example, the scent Normandie 1935 paid homage to a grand French ocean liner, while Vacances 1936 celebrated the introduction of paid vacations in France. Patou even crafted one of the earliest unisex fragrances, Le Sien, in the 1920s, showing his forward-thinking approach to scent. Though Jean Patou passed away in 1936, his perfume legacy lived on robustly. The company remained a renowned perfume house, later employing great perfumers like Henri Almaras, who formulated Joy and Jean Patou. Over the years, they launched hits like 1000, a sumptuous floral in 1972, and Sublime, an elegant blend in 1992. The name Patou became as much associated with fine fragrance as with fashion. To this day, any discussion of luxury perfume history is incomplete without Joy, a testament to Jean Patou's visionary move to infuse high fashion ideals into a scent. Global influence and enduring legacy. Jean Patou was a French designer with a truly global influence. He was among the first Paris couturiers to actively court the American market. Fluent in English and savvy in business, Patou recognized that modern style knew no borders. In 1924, he famously invited 6 American models to Paris, a publicity stunt to show that his chic designs suited energetic American girls just as well as Parisian ladies. This caused a stir in the traditionally French-dominated couture world, but it cemented Patou's transatlantic appeal. He later opened a boutique in New York City, ensuring that Jean Patou fashion could be experienced by the growing ranks of American fashionistas in the Jazz Age. Patou's label became an epitome, of refined French style enjoyed worldwide. The American press dubbed him the most elegant man in Europe, and indeed Patou himself personified his brand's sophistication. A dapper bon vivant, often seen at society parties, casinos, and behind the wheel of fast cars. This glamorous image helped fuel the allure around his creations. Culturally, Patou's work reflected and influenced the lifestyle shifts of the 1920s and 1930s. He embraced the era's changes, from the rise of sporty leisure activities to the newfound freedom of women, and provided the wardrobe to match. When tanned skin became the new vogue, a trend sparked in part by leisure travel and even Coco Chanel's influence, Patou responded by introducing the world's first sunscreen product in 1927, called Huile de Chaldée. This tanning oil was innovative at a time when cosmetics and couture intertwined. It showed how Patou paid attention to the cultural zeitgeist and catered to it, further endearing his brand to the fashionable set. After Jean Patou's untimely death in 1936, at just 48, his legacy was carried on through his fashion house and the many notable designers who led it. Patou's sister and brother-in-law took over the business, and in the decades that followed, several designers who would become legends got their start at Jean Patou. For instance, a young Karl Lagerfeld served as Patou's head designer in the early 1960s, where he honed his craft before moving to Chanel. The iconoclastic Jean-Paul Gaultier apprenticed at Patou in the 1970s, absorbing the house's blend of elegance and wit. And in the 1980s, Christian Lacroix took the reins, infusing Patou's heritage with opulent fantasy and even winning a top couture award during his tenure. Each of these designers carried a piece of Patou's ethos into the future, whether it was an eye for graphic detail, a love of color, or the pursuit of chic comfort. The House of Patou eventually paused its fashion collections in 1987, but the Patou name never faded away. Its fragrance business thrived, and in recent years the brand has been revitalized for a new generation today, simply called Patou, under new creative direction. Fashion historians continue to recognize Jean Patou as a key figure in early 20th century couture, a designer who merged innovation with elegance, setting the stage for modern sportswear and luxury branding. His influence is woven into the very fabric of fashion. Every time we enjoy high-end designers' logo emblazoned accessories, sporty chic daywear, or a designer perfume, we're feeling Patou's legacy. Conclusion. In summary, Jean Patou's legacy is that of a true fashion pioneer who left a remarkable dual imprint on style. In his relatively short career, he revolutionized women's attire, introducing comfort and athleticism into haute couture, and crafted a perfume icon that outlasted the century. Patou's story is a celebration of innovation. He empowered women to dress for movement and joy, and he understood that fashion is not just about clothes, but a lifestyle, complete with the perfect scent and even the suntan to match. His contributions to Jean Patou fashion history resonate in how we think of sportswear as everyday wear and perfumes as essential luxury. We hope you enjoyed this journey through Jean Patou's world, from Parisian runways to tennis courts and beyond. If his tale inspired you, or if you learned something new about luxury perfume history or the roots of early 20th century French couture, let us know. Join the conversation with your thoughts or questions. We love hearing from fellow fashion enthusiasts. Now stay curious and inspired. This has been the